Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go! Well, folks, the first week, there are some glitches to be worked out, and in the ever-changing and unpredictable world of technology, I was supposed to hook up with Andy Fantuz, but it wasn't technology that got me. It was our wires. Our wires got crossed with the time zone, the difference, and everything like that. So we didn't have this in our original live stream of the show, but here we go. Hopefully you can check this interview out here. As on the other side, I'm going to bring you Andy Fantuz. Yes, Andy Fantuz. Referee Andy Fantuz, former rider in Tiger Cat. CFL fans would know this guy, Andy Fantuz, as a player, but not as an official. So how the heck did this happen, Andy?
Well, it's something I've been interested in, I guess, even while I was playing, as the video replay got into effect throughout my career, and it became more and more prevalent and more part of the game. And after I retired, I had some conversations with guys like Dave Foxcroft and Al Bradbury, and they were trying to get more ex-players involved in this type of role to sort of give a different perspective on the rules and the flow of the game and what actually happens on the field. So the opportunity came up to explore it a little further, and I jumped all over it. And I went to training camp this year with the officials, all the on-field officials, all the video replay officials, and it was kind of bringing me back to the old time training camp, and I had a lot of fun. I learned a ton, and I'm just trying to soak it all in and do the best job I can.
It's awesome, man. So let's talk about that. What's it like to go to officials training camp?
Well, not quite as physically demanding, I would say. Actually, as a video replay official, I didn't even have to do all the fitness tests that the on-field officials have to do. Someone made a joke that as long as I can get in an elevator and then go into a room and kind of sit in a chair, I should be physically fit. But regardless, I was ready to go. So that part was a bit different, but still vigorous, still lots of learning, lots of different segments to it. Going through the standards of all the different calls, going through all the different groups of officials with their coaches. So having meetings as a whole team, and then breaking apart into position groups, if you will, just like a team training camp would be, and then kind of coming back as a whole group, and having some social time with it, and also doing the administrative side of it with the health and safety and all the standard education that's involved. So it was a lot to take in a few days.
So I wouldn't say it's like an air traffic controller, because that's life or death. That's really stressful. But what's the stress level like? What's it look like? Because listen, I've been on the other end in the booth, calling the game, saying, what are these guys looking at? Like that, come on, how do they miss that even after going to replay? But take us behind the scenes a little bit, and just, educate dumb announcers like me and fans.
Well, a lot of times the game flow is pretty, pretty kind of goes by itself. Like the on-field officials do a great job, whether it's the spots, calling the right calls, catches, non-catches, turnovers, throwing flags. The on-field officials are outstanding in our league, and so I got to give them a lot of credit. But when your moment does come up and you do need to support the on-field official, or there's a coach's challenge, it's time demanding. It's urgent. The urgency is there. The adrenaline is there, and you're looking at all these feeds. We normally have 12 feeds, and then TSN even has some more with ISOCams and things like that. So you got to kind of pick and choose which feeds you're going to use very quickly, and you have this little this screen with this kind of throttle, I guess you could say, to rewind and pause and look at different angles all at the same time. So the object is for us is to correct anything that's egregious or very obviously wrong, but then just really just support. And then when challenges happen, to make sure that we get the call right and the game is played as fairly as possible without us or the on-field officials really making an impact other than the players on the field. What happens?
So as as I'm listening to you, so you weren't vigorous. Let's back up a second. So you didn't vigorously go, running up and down the field, okay, as an official, but you're in the booth. So what do you got to have? Good hand-eye coordination, good thumbs, like good, like how does that work for you? What do you do? How do you practice? I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, I sort of watch the game at live speed, and when I notice anything that I can potentially support on, or I think that might be an issue, I'm quick to find the right angle and rewind it. So that could be something like when I see a flag come down, for instance, I can go back and look at the penalty very quickly and make sure that the player that the ref has, like the number of the player is correct. Make sure where the foul happened. The application of the penalty is going to be at the correct spot. So that's one example. If I see as a receiver, for instance, if I see a pass where there's some contact, I can quickly go back, and before the play's even over, before the ref even makes a call, I already have looked at it a few times and can sort of expect if there might be a challenge coming, or if the ref is saying, is this illegal contact, or is it defensive pass interference, offensive pass interference? I can assist with that on the spot and not slow down the game at all. So so I sort of watch the game at live speed and then quickly go back and look at a few different things depending on the play each time, and just help make sure that it's all flowing correctly.
So how many of you are up in the video room there doing this? And you're like, what, in a room in Toronto? Is it just one central hub is how it goes?
Yeah, there's one central hub, and actually the viewers will get a glimpse of it this year because there will be a camera in that booth during the commercials, during challenges, so you'll get an idea. But it's a fairly large room, and there's two video replay officials, the replay official and then the video official, and then there's an injury spotter, a technician, and we're all kind of in the front row, and then in the back there's an assistant that sort of helps the injury spotter and the technician in case a lot's going on at one time. So there's typically 5 people in this room, and it's I don't know, it's probably 15 by 30, I don't know, feet. Mm-hmm. So it's a fairly large room, and there's just screens everywhere, computers, clocks, countdowns. So we're able to manipulate which feeds we're watching on the bigger TVs, and then we each have our own personal monitor that we can sort of use as we will.
So you did a preseason game, half of a preseason game. How did that go?
It went well, actually. It was I did the second half of one of the games, kind of my initiation period, I guess. I'll probably have another game in a similar fashion before they let me loose on my own. But there wasn't too much going on as far as things I had to correct, but it was still adrenaline filled, and I got a chance to assist the replay official in helping the ref, just work out any kinks, whether it be who the penalties were on, making sure the penalty card was right, where the spots were, just verifying that certain plays. There was one play that the ball carrier almost got to the end zone, but he kind of stepped out a little bit before, so I was able to see that very clearly, confirm with the referee that they made the right call, and then put the ball, where the player stepped out, where was the ball, make sure that's put at the right spot. So just that, it was fairly straightforward. There wasn't too much drama going on in that game, but it still was a good chance to get my feet wet. How
long do you get? Is there like a 90 seconds? Is there a time limit for you, so to speak, or just get it right?
I think it's get it right. We one of our sort of our creeds, I guess, is to not interrupt the flow of the game and only correct things that are clear and obvious. And then when it's not a coach's challenge or an automatic challenge, we're only going to change things that are very impactful, if you will. So there's no time limit, but just speed is definitely crucial.
So you were a player at a very high level. Rider fans would know that. Tiger Cat fans would know that. U Sports fans would know that. You were an analyst with the Tiger Cats. So you've got that mindset. So, for instance, you're doing the game here tonight. It's the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the Calgary Stampeders. It's the return of Bo Levi Mitchell to Calgary. Do you have to go into the video replay booth with almost coke yourself? Okay, I'm an official. Like, I can't watch this as a fan. I can't watch this as a guy that loves the game, per se, as a fan or a former player.
Oh, definitely. It's totally neutral. I'm not even watching the players that much or the teams. In the game I did in the preseason, I remember thinking to myself, I actually don't even know who's winning this game right now. And I think it was like it wasn't that close. It was just like I was just totally play by play. I was just going one step at a time, being in the present, and it doesn't really matter to me like what's happening. And I'm sure that it'll come with experience where I'm able to sort of see the big picture a little more. But yeah, I don't. It's not gonna matter what player I know or team I know. It's just seeing what the facts are, what the black and white is, and making the calls.
You're a great talker, obviously. As you're always a pleasure to interview, and of course, being with the Tiger Cats here. One thing I liked about these startup leagues, whether it's I think the AAF or the XFL or even the UFL, when they go to the booth, they have a dude, it's mic'd up and they're talking. I don't expect you to be a Dean Blandino, of course, because they work for the networks, but is it going to be mic'd up in the booth where we can hear what's going on between you and another official, or, hey, this is what's where we can kind of go inside the video room that way? Or is it just going to kind of be a camera as far as you know, or do you know?
I'm pretty sure for this year it'll just be video. There will be no audio with it. It'll be a split screen with the commercial going on when there are challenges. But maybe it's something that could evolve. I'm not really sure. I don't get paid to make those decisions. It's just a matter of giving the viewers a bit of a perspective of what's happening and what goes into it. So I'm sure you'll be able to see the two of us communicating with each other, non-audio, but you'll see us looking back and forth, checking out each other's screens, deciding what we're doing, and then and as we tell the referee and the TSN producer, and we all sync up the timing for when the announcement's going to happen. I'm sure you'll get the viewer will get a glimpse of what happens.
Now, relative to other leagues in terms of dollars spent on officiating, I've been critical of CFL refs. I'm not going to sit here and say I haven't. I think anybody, you probably have as a player in the past. But relative to dollars spent, I think we have world-class, really good officials in the Canadian Football League. Yes, they're going to make mistakes. Now, you earlier in this interview said, "Oh, we got great officials." Now, the cynic in me too, is he's wearing a CFL jacket and he's probably toting the company line. But I want you to, and I know you're honest, I want you to say, has this been a real eye-opening experience for you where you may have had a different opinion about officials? Now you go to camp with them, you sit up in the video room, and you see exactly what these men and women go through.
Yeah, you do. It really blew me away that the quality that they are and what they can see. Because in football, it's ever changing. During a play, you could start off a play where you're as an official, you're watching X, Y, or X, Y, and Z, but all of a sudden, if all 24 players come towards you, you've got a lot to process, and sometimes it's impossible to see everything. If, for instance, there's a big lineman in front of you, and there's a foul that happens right behind them, even though that's in your zone. So the way that they help each other and sort of maneuver around the field and to get different angles is really is really really incredible actually. And of course you're always going to miss things. Officiating mistakes I guess are part of the game. But the way that they operate and flow with each other and sort of get a feel for each other, and then the fact that they go back and they review every game and they review all the calls that whether the team sends in or the crew coaches, the coaches for each position want to talk about. They do this on a weekly basis, so it's an ever learning and changing environment and process. So I got to give them a lot of credit, and I certainly have. I already had a high respect for them, but it's not an easy job, and I think they do a great one.
I'm sure chemistry would be important too, right? Chemistry between the booth and different crews, because no crew is the same. They call a game different in terms of just maybe, I don't know, rules are rules, but you know what I mean. There's different chemistry between this officiating crew and the booth and that type of thing. That's what I would assume anyway.
Yeah, some of the advice that some of the vets, I guess, told me where you got to learn who you're dealing with, who the on-field officials are, how much they like to communicate back and forth, because everybody's different. One official might be fairly quiet. One might want to confirm multiple things during a game or during a quarter. So that, from my perspective, I got to kind of get a better feel for who we're dealing with. But that's certainly it. The officials always meet on game day and go through. It's almost repetitious, really, when they go through certain standards and maybe things that came up the week before. They're talking about making sure that the consistency is there league wide, no matter what the crew is. But the ones that I guess operate together more often are going to have that chemistry where like a good example is a punt play or something, because you might have the field judge responsible for the no yards call 90% of the time, but there are certain times where that job has to go to somebody else on the fly in an instant, and they're going to talk about these scenarios and make sure that they can make that switch and switch duties on in a split second.
Okay, I got one last question, lighthearted. I want to wrap up on this. So I'm picturing you going into a 15 by 25 or 30 room with TV screens and all the equipment, okay? I know when I used to be I'm here in my studio, okay? And I make sure I don't have any liquids or anything around my computer screens, my mixing board, my microphone, okay? Do you have any rules? Like, because I'm picturing Fantuz in the video replay booth. It's a 9 o'clock kickoff in Vancouver, which would be 11 or whatever, 10 o'clock your time in Ontario. You get to bring a coffee in, a protein shake, a sandwich. Like what's it look like behind the scenes there when you're watching the game?
I think yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have like my Fantuz flakes out there snacking on them during it. I think that your water bottle will be branded with CFL or your coffee mug, and that's it. We got to keep a pretty clean desk and make sure it looks professional. We have the technology now to compete with any league in any sport across the world, and we want to showcase that aspect of it and show that this is a world-class operation, and just the cleanliness and organization of the room is just one part of that.
Awesome. And lastly, you just dropped something there. So did you at least save one box of Fantuz flakes so you have for like a memorabilia room or something like that?
Oh, I do. I actually, when that whole thing came out, I'm sure I mentioned this before, but part of the deal with Co-op was they had to send cases back to my parents' house because I do have a big family and lots of friends, and so I had cases and cases of both editions sent back, and I still have a couple hanging around, and I actually get asked for them on maybe a quarterly basis. So I go through about 3 to 5 boxes a year, and whether it's just going to or camps or community events or something like that. But yeah, I do. I wouldn't eat them though, because they are about 14 years expired.
You know where I'm going with this here. I have a set now. I'd love to have a box of Fantuz flakes. I'll even pay for the shipping, dude.
Okay, I got you. For
Okay,
sure.
awesome.
Yeah. Send
Hey,
me your
hey,
address.
hey, I'm glad you're in the league in a different capacity. It's awesome to see former players in it. I think we need more former players. They add to the league. Thanks for your time, man, and best of luck today with the Hamilton Tiger Cat Calgary game. I appreciate you taking time out of a very busy day.
You got it, Ballsy. I appreciate you. Take care.